Let's take a look at activity 7.2, dimensioned lumber sizes and span charts. So the first thing we're going to do in step one is compare bending strength. So this is very important when a rafter or a joist or a top plate is loaded with something pressing sideways to it. That's called bending. And to know the strength in bending is very important because we want it to be strong enough. So you don't need to know too much more about that number yet. You'll learn about it more in another class, but we want to at least be able to look it up so that we can see what that number is. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our workbook and we're going to compare extreme fiber stress. Now, extreme means the fibers on the surface of the piece of wood, because we know from mechanics and millions and thousands of tests and theories and things that those are the ones that are most likely to break and where most of the load creates stress. So we want to know what that extreme fiber stress in bending can be so that when we do a design, we can compare what we find in the design to what our material, in this case wood, can handle. And we're going to look at select structural, that's a grade, 2x4, that's a size, and 3 of the species that are shown. And then we're going to put them in a chart right here. And I'm going to write down one of them, and then you'll go and do the rest. So we'll get to the wood strength chart. Here it is, and I've made it nice and big. So here's the size, 2x4. Here's one of the species, Doug fir larch. Here's select structural, and here's my extreme bending stress. So I'm just going to look straight across, run straight across to here. 2250 is my number. 2250. Okay, so when I come over to here, I'm doing Doug fir larch, D-F-L. And I can make that look better. I can write it all the way out. But do take some time to make your presentation look as good as you can get it to look. Notice I can even center it. And this is a 2x4. What size is this? 18. So probably if I make that one 18 also and center it and put it in the middle of the cell. And what was that extreme fiber stress limit? 2x4, Doug fir, select structural, 2250. 2250. And again, I can make that look good. Make it the same size, center it up, put it in. So that's how you'll fill this out. Again, look up the size you want, look up the species that you want, find the grade that you want, and then just keep running straight across until you get to the extreme fiber stress and bending. Now, if it was hem fir, 2x4, hem fir, maybe number 2. There's number 2. I would run straight across. It would be 1275. It's not the one I want, but I'm just demonstrating how to read these. These other numbers are important at times, but we're not going to get into those right now. Okay, and on another part of the question, we're supposed to look at hem fir 2x4 versus 2x10. So I can come to my hem fir and compare a 2x4 to a 2x10 and find out that those have different numbers. And I should also put select structural for you. Now you can see that the 2x10 carries a lower stress than a 2x4. And I'd like you to find out why. And you can type that in, and there's a number of reasons for it. That does not mean that it carries less load, much greater load, because its area is much bigger. But the pound per square inch of material is lower. And you make up for it by having much more area. Okay, so try to find what you would write here. You can just write something over here. You can make a text box. Okay, you can even make that text box maybe down here because that's where you're going to put those. Put your explanation there, and then it says to put in an image. So I'll need to put in an image over here. So there you go. That is activity 7.2, step 1, compare bending strength.